This is Bruce Bochy, and you're listening to the Ranger Report.
The Ranger Report. Yeah, the Ranger Report. If you want the inside scoop, listen to the Ranger Report. Oh, here we go.
This is the Ranger Report podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the Texas Rangers from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter and CJ Berryman.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ranger Report podcast on the Fans First Sports Network, and of course, as always, on the Preferred Health Solutions online studio. I am Ben Dieter. You can find me at Twitter or X or whatever it's called, at BDieter75. Joined tonight by Tyler Nielsen.
How are you guys? Thank you again, Ben. I'm Tyler Nielsen. You can find me on the porn site at TPN 1983.
And of course, Nathan Haig.
That's why Ben's getting so popular here.
It is, yeah, on X, exactly, yeah.
And of course, because of the porn thing.
Yeah, and of course, Nathan Haig is joining us. Nathan, what's up?
Not much. How's it going?
Pretty good, doing pretty good. All right, and of course, don't forget Walton's Everything But the Meat, our biggest sponsor. Thank you very much. And of course, Dallas Sports Nation, we are presented by them. So all that out of the way, and we have a shop for all of you that started listening to us. If you want to buy stuff, we have a Patreon. All that stuff. So just throw me some money. I like money. So you can get
I've got some good gear from there.
Money's good. Yeah. Money's always a good thing.
Money is always a good thing. All right. Well, guys, do we have anything to talk about on this show? I don't know.
Nah, not at all.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll talk
Rangers, right?
Yeah, this is about the Rams. I mean, yeah.
We can end the show right there, Ben. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. We're done. No, but normally at this point, we've been talking about the offseason for a month, and we've been talking about who they're going to bring in next year. We're going to talk about what they can do to improve this team. But instead, guys, we're talking about, we're recording this on Thursday, October 26th. Tomorrow,
feel like it should be October.
No, tomorrow in Arlington, Texas, game 1 of the World Series will be played between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers. Just let that sink in for a minute, guys.
Wow.
I've been trying to let it sink in. It doesn't seem real. It just
no.
Nobody would have predicted this. Definitely, of course, at the beginning of the year, it was supposed to be a rebuilding year. But even at the All-Star break, if somebody had told you that, because the whole season we're just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, even when we had the lead in the AL West.
Yep.
And then it took longer than expected. But then, we remember what was it back in September when we lost the lead at one point to the Astros.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was like, okay, it's done. We're done. And then
got it back.
Then it's like, yeah, it came back. Like, what in the world? And then it does. We gave up the division, and y'all know the story. Gave up the last day of the season, and at that point, it was even. And I was like, well, crap. Looking forward to next year.
Yeah. Well, the Rangers are 7-3 in the postseason.
Right, and Nate, I think you make a really, really good point. I mean, we're sitting here, like Ben said, October 26th, and you have the two teams that came in limping into the postseason. The Arizona Diamondbacks were the final team that got in the NL, and the Rangers, fortunately for us, we had the tiebreaker over, but we limped in. Yeah. And then you go in and you take care of the Rays. I mean, just completely dominated the Rays. And you knew you weren't coming back home unless you won those games. I mean, all 3 games were played in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And then you go on the road against Baltimore, and they just handled their business. It was, but according to the announcers, we had talked about on previous podcasts, just the Baltimore Orioles are the greatest team ever.
Yeah.
Right.
They came in and did what they did. Then you come into this series, and if I'm going a little bit too far, Ben, just tell me. But you go in the series against Houston, and yes, we didn't take care of business at home, and we have played really, really good all year at home, except against the Astros.
Yeah.
And they owned us in that. They owned us at home in this ALCS. But the Rangers, this is what, and I think Kane mentioned a really good point, and I still revert back to this. I use the word gritty, but this is a word, they're very resilient. And you hear that from every interview you listen to. This is a very resilient ball club, and it doesn't matter, we got to go to Houston, take care of business. And that's exactly what they did.
Well, go ahead, Nathan.
No, I was going to say, I'm just baffled even now, though, just how bad a team of the Astros caliber can be at home. I mean, they were under 500 for the regular season and then ended up going 1-5 at home in the postseason. Like, how does that happen? But thankfully, the Rangers were able to take advantage of just how poorly the Astros have been at home.
Yeah.
And, winning every game in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible to think about. But I mean, was it really a blessing in disguise that the Rangers didn't win the division? Because they would have been the home team in that series, and they did not. I mean, Astros murdered us at home all year, and they couldn't play here at the end of the year. I mean, I think I read that they were 10-27 in their last 37 games at home.
That's correct. And you took the words right out of my mouth. I was talking the other night. And after we clinched, I was like, you know what? Looking back on the series against the Astros, or everything leading up to this moment, I was like, that was a blessing in disguise. Here you are, you struggle against Seattle. You have to fly cross country all the way to Tampa Bay, and that took a lot. They hadn't played at home in how long had it been? Almost a month.
Yeah, it was. I think over 3 weeks before they had a home game. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
you and I have been talking about that. Remember, like, we were like, is it even like intentional? Because quite honestly, though, I do not see the Astros having had the same success up to that point. I don't see the Astros having made the ALCS if they had to play Tampa and Baltimore.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, and so like that's one of the good things that made the win over the Astros so much sweeter, because had we lost, it was like, okay, here are the Rangers taking care of the dirty work for the Astros.
Yeah,
right,
and taking out the number one and the 200 wins worth.
Yeah,
and then
of baseball teams. Yeah,
exactly. And so I don't think the Astros would have got. By the way, I showed you, Ben, a screenshot of a conversation I had with my wife's family, and I sent a picture of. It said Houston Astros American League West champions, and I just said, "Hey, congrats!" And
that's funny, because it's like Bregman. He's like, we don't celebrate, getting to the playoffs. We celebrate divisions and all that. Well, you know what, Alex Bregman, you just sit there on your couch and watch the Texas Rangers in the World Series. Eat your own words up,
and you can celebrate your division because you won it.
Yeah, you won your division. Cool. We're in the World Series. We're celebrating a pennant.
That's the tweet I got the biggest feedback on, or X, or whatever it's called now. The post. I'm going to keep saying tweet. I don't care. Anyway,
it's still Twitter. Like, you type in twitter.com, you still.
Yeah, it still comes in. You're right. Yeah, you're right. But anyway, the biggest response I got was, I said, congratulations to the Houston Astros for winning the American League West. We'll go ahead and take the pennant and play in the World Series.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to that. So the Rangers got there. They're playing the Diamondbacks. They
no garbage cans needed.
Yeah, no garbage cans needed in this World Series. But so we got Nathan Eovaldi starting tomorrow, not Jordan Montgomery. I'm guessing it's because Montgomery pitched in Game 7 of the ALCS, guys. But Eovaldi has been lights out all the way through the playoffs. The Rangers really, really, really need to have a good showing in Game 1 at home, don't you think?
Absolutely, and it doesn't stop with the starters, obviously, as we've seen. I mean, I think that's our biggest concern, right? I mean, as far as the bullpen goes, that's a lot of times that's where, like, once the starters are pulled and dig into the bullpen, that's where you're just like, I got to be honest. Game 7 against the Astros, after that home run in the bottom of the ninth, I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
yeah,
7-run league should be comfortable,
but it wasn't.
Right.
We've seen it so many times that we're like, no, it can't happen again.
Exactly.
But I mean, I think you get Eovaldi goes at least into the 6th inning, I feel pretty good that they can, if they're winning, that they can win that game. But if he gets pulled in the 3rd or 4th, I think the Rangers will be in trouble. But the thing is, they can win at home, like Tyler said. I think it's just the Astros they've struggled against. So I feel like the crowd is going to be behind them. I feel like they're going to be amped up to be in the playoffs. And also, the other worst bullpen in the majors this year was Arizona. So they also have the same issue, that if we get to their bullpen, their fans are going to be exactly the same way we are. Oh, crap, here we go, bullpen game. A bullpen game might turn out to be 13-11,
Yeah, well, here's the deal about Nasty Nate. We all know, I mean, this guy is absolutely incredible in postseason. You look at his accolades and everything he's done throughout his career. Look at him in Boston, just everywhere he's been. This guy knows when to pitch when it matters. And I'm not saying he doesn't know when to pitch during the regular season, but Nasty Nate is what gets it going. And, and yes, of course, Montgomery, like I've talked in previous episodes, that was the biggest, in my opinion, that was the biggest acquisition we acquired through the trade deadline. And you look at these two, if they can go, and the only person that really concerns me coming out of the pen is Chapman. I think everybody else is, Leclerc, he gave the home run, like you were saying, Nate, to Altuve, and you're like, oh, here, But if we would have lost that game after leading by 8 runs going into the ninth, I've been like, okay, I'm probably done.
Right.
But in all serious aside, I think we look good. The matchup, we got Gallen. I think Zach Gallen, we're going to be in Zach Gallen on the game on Friday. And Zach Gallen has not had a good postseason. Let's be honest, guys. I want to hear y'all's feedback. Look at his ERA. He had a really good season. I think his ERA was around 3.5, if I recall. But his postseason has not been good. Y'all want to take it from there and tell me what y'all's thoughts are on that?
Go for it, Ben.
Yeah, I think Gallen hasn't been great in the postseason, and Eovaldi has, which is why I think we have to win Game 1. We have to take advantage of their struggling pitcher. We have to take advantage of a guy that hasn't done great, and our offense has to keep doing what it's been doing. I'm not saying you have to put up 11 runs a game, but I think if you put up 5 or 6 runs a game, that you win this World Series easily. And I don't want to say that because I don't want to jinx anything. You know what I mean? But but that's a big if, because there were a couple games there against Houston. The Rangers only put up 1 or 2 runs. And there was, the game against Baltimore, they only put up 1 run or whatever, or 2 runs and 1, but they do have their struggles. And if Seager continues to stay hot like he was that last game of the series, and Adolis still is Adolis, this offense is just, you can't take a break 1 through 9 in this offense. And if Gallen has any kind of struggles 1 through 9, he's going to get raked. Evan Carter, Leody Taveras, who in that lineup do you take a break during? Jonah Heim. You've got nobody in that lineup that you can take a break during, and it's just incredible, Nathan.
But no, I was just saying it's so crazy to me how a season of 162 games isn't enough to determine how things are going to be. Like, as far as like the best team still doesn't necessarily go. Like the best teams that we saw this year, perfect example, the number 1s and 2s and all go down. It's like they're good. They're the best teams for 162 games long.
Yeah.
But come playoff, it's a different story. But no, back to the other thing. I was like, I agree as far as like, you got to set the tone early, put your foot on the throttle and do not lift it. And if we can get that win, Game 1, that's a good. So obviously there's no guarantees, and there's sometimes, because of the bullpen, like we were talking about, sometimes you've got to put up a lot more runs than you would normally have to, because you just don't know what the bullpen's going to do. I think getting that win at home early, because especially after coming off of a series in which we lost all of our home games, you got to show again, once again, yes, we can win at home.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think it's going to be, and the atmosphere there is going to be fantastic. And speaking of atmosphere, Tyler, let's talk a little bit about Game 2. It looks like Jordan Montgomery is going to be pitching, and are you going to be there to encourage him, I understand?
I guess I'll be at the World Series Game 2. I'm flying out tomorrow, so yes, I will be there, and it's going to be loud. I cannot wait. I'm going with my cousin Corey. Shout out to him.
Oh, shout out to your brother. Shout out to your brother, Mac, too. Mac Nielsen.
Oh, way to go, Ben. Yeah, he's an avid listener.
Yeah, we love those guys.
Yeah, but, I was talking to my cousin because he went to the ALCS game, and I was like, maybe you shouldn't go to the World Series, because every time you go, because remember we talked about it in the previous podcast.
Yeah,
I was like, maybe you shouldn't go, because every time you go, they lose. And he was like, you know what? You make a really good point, but think about it this way. Every time I've been in 2010 and in 2023, he said, we lost the game I went to, won the series. So I'm
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
So, I mean, if we walk out of the stadium with a loss, I'm like, well, we're still coming back with a freaking championship.
Well, Nathan, you were at the Adolis Grand Slam game in Houston.
Oh, it was beautiful.
I made that. I think my wife made that call, or was it me, Ben?
It was you. You made that call.
I made that call.
You did too, Nathan, didn't you?
I also did, because here's the thing. There was a game earlier this season. I can't remember who it was against, to tell you the truth. But Garcia had struck out 4 times prior to that game.
Mm-hmm.
And during that game, he struck out 4 times. And so when he came up to the bat, I'm like, he's just due a home run.
Yeah.
And it was a walk-off that particular game in Arlington. And I just got deja vu with that. I'm like, I looked up at the scoreboard, saw 4 Ks up there, and I said, he's due one. And it was just so beautiful too to hear the Astro fans go from booing on the top of their lungs to quickly headed to the exits.
Yeah.
You could hear the gasp. You could hear it on national television come out of that stadium when he hit that grand slam. And go ahead,
that's because the gas came out of the booth too. Those guys were upset about it too.
But from that hit on, I mean, just look. I mean, let's really talk about this for just a few. Let's talk about Adolis Garcia, what he has done in this postseason. It is absolutely incredible. He's getting his bobblehead.
He's getting his Adolis bobblehead.
Nice.
There it is.
There you go.
I mean, the most RBI
for me.
the most RBIs in a postseason series ever. The most RBIs in a postseason, not including the World Series ever. I mean, the dude is just on an unbelievable tear right now. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I was telling my wife the other night. I said, you think about Adolis, we got him for nothing. We got him for pennies.
Yeah.
Cash considerations. In the MLB, when they say cash considerations, that's basically pennies. It's nothing. And you get Adolis, and here he is. And he's about a 260 hitter. But if you're going to get 40 because I think his total for the whole year, including the postseason, is 46 home runs.
Yeah. Yep.
And drove in 130 runs.
Yeah.
You couldn't ask for pennies. I mean, come on now.
I mean, who would you rather have in that situation, him or Josh Hamilton?
No, don't go there, Ben.
See, that's a tough one because he
depends what era, what point of Hamilton's career.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't want to go there because
I just think he is this team's Josh Hamilton, this World Series run team's Josh Hamilton, the guy that you want up there in a clutch situation at bat. When Josh was seeing the ball, it was unbelievable, and when Adolis is seeing the ball, it's unbelievable.
Oh yeah. And he's got a lot better laying off that high strike. Yes, he still swings at it from time to time, but he's going up there now. He's like, it's just a weird look in his face right now. And that's what my wife was saying. And I'm like, okay, I am the biggest Ranger fan there is, and I'm supposed to be noticing these things. She's like, do you see that look in his eyes? And I'm like, whoa. And he just comes up there, and there's just like a different vibe about Adolis right now. And he wants that ring. He wants that ring, and he wants to bring it back for the fans that have waited for so long. 52 years. Everybody in the Dallas area needs it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, as Dallas sports fans, we know heartache. We know what it's like to get let down and disappointed. And
yes.
But like I was saying too the other day, and I think I was talking to you too, Ben, about this, about how it's like, obviously as Rangers fans, we know these guys. Yeah. Like we've been on this journey with them for a while, with this team, with these individual players. And now, like, the rest of the world is just now getting to know them. I was listening to the Dan Patrick Show, and they were playing what they call Know Your Rangers, and they were naming guys from the rosters of the Texas Rangers and the New York Rangers, and then guessing, who they play for. It's like, I know who Jonah Heim is. But that's just kind of the mentality, though. Now, as far as from a national standpoint, is like,
if they were expected to be here, that'd be one thing, but they weren't. I mean, even me at the beginning of the season, I predicted, I think 75 wins, 76 wins was my take.
Yeah, I think CJ's was around I don't remember what CJ said.
He was happier than me. I think he got close to 80. I think he had 80 or so, and I had 75 to 76.
But then completely makes sense, though, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we obviously get rid of John Daniels, and get a new manager, just bringing new guys into the roster. It was supposed to be a rebuilding year.
Yep.
Supposed to be, yeah. I mean, I was looking at the stat the other day. I was on Google and I was, typing Texas Rangers. In the metropolitan area right now, the DFW area, all 4 teams right now, the Dallas Mavericks, the Dallas Cowboys, the Texas Rangers, and the Dallas Stars are all playing right now at this time of the year. How crazy is that?
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. Well, and and all 4 are decent, right now. The Mavericks are decent. The Stars, have a chance to win it all this year.
They're
Rangers obviously in the World Series, and hopefully the Cowboys don't do what they normally do, is start hot and then fall apart. But
what's funny, Ben, that you mentioned that, because as we saw today, Dusty Baker announces a retirement.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back on it once I read that article. I was like, wow. Tom Brady's last game in the NFL was against the Dallas Cowboys, and Dusty Baker's last game in MLB was against the Texas Rangers. I was like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
And both got blasted by the Texas team.
Both got blasted.
Yeah.
But so game 2, Bruce Bochy said he wasn't ready to name a starter yet, but I think we all know it's going to be Jordan Montgomery. Like, I would be shocked.
I agree with that.
I would be shocked if it was anyone besides Jordan Montgomery.
I thought Tyler Nielsen, because he's going to be there. But.
Tyler, you can start game 2. There you go. Yeah.
Well, I might need CJ's arm. I'll have to have him warm it up and take it on the plane flight. But serious question, though. Do y'all know? I don't really know much about the Arizona Diamondbacks starting pitching. I haven't done enough research. Who do they have, from 2, 3, 4 going on in the starting rotation?
That's a great question. I'm going to have to look that up.
I was actually just reading.
Because I said I didn't do my research on it, because I really don't know much about their rotation other than Zach Gallen.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like the whole thing we talked about. I mean, like, they're on the same, coming from the same perspective as the Rangers, like the rest of the country does not know much about this, this Diamondbacks team. I mean, I know Randy Johnson's no longer pitching there. But you just don't know a whole lot about them.
Well, I know that they also, another amazing thing about this World Series is in 2021, both these teams lost more than 100 games.
Yeah.
Just 2 seasons. Okay. Brandon, good. PFAADT, PAFT.
Oh yeah. That's that. I saw the sign. I was watching the game and
during the regular season, he was 3-9 with a 5.72 ERA, but in the postseason, he has a 2.70 ERA. He doesn't have a win or a loss in 4 starts, but 2.70 ERA is pretty dang good. So he's struck out 22 and he struck out 22 in 16.2 innings. So he's had a really good postseason. That's going to be the start of the day you're there. That's the Saturday start.
Gotcha.
So he's been pretty good for them as well. And of course, like I said, I think he's going up against Montgomery, who's undefeated in the postseason.
Yeah.
Montgomery saved Game 7, in my opinion, of the ALCS.
Oh, he did.
I think he could have kept going too.
I think he could have too, but I think they didn't want him to, so he could pitch Game 2 of this series.
Well, we were talking back and forth throughout the game when Montgomery came in, and he had that rest for a little bit, and CJ, it's always hard when the pitcher's on the bench for a while, and because it's kind of like the same situation when we took the lead against the Astros. You had that delay with the brawl, or I wouldn't call it a brawl. I mean, bunch of adults just sitting there yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And that took a lot out of the game. I took a lot out of our pitchers, and because who was on the mound that day, Ben?
For the brawl, that was
that was sitting on the bench and had to sit there forever. When
that was Leclerc. That was Jose Leclerc.
Yeah, Jose Leclerc. So he'd been sitting there for a good 30 minutes, and Dusty Baker refused to go, because I saw the interview with Dusty Baker, and he was like, I was not going to leave. The thing, and I was like, that should be reprimanded in the MLB. I mean, once you're ejected, you have to leave.
Yeah.
But he was trying to buy off as much time as he could with Leclerc coming in because Leclerc's been hot. And it's one of those deals that I was like, whatever. We'll take care of it in Houston. They can't play worth a shit at home anyways.
By the way, I just now, as we're talking, received a text from Brandon from the Tyler paper. You know who he is, Ben.
Yep.
They got approved for credentials for the World Series, but there's a catch. It's game 3 through 5.
Oh yeah, going to
so they have to
Arizona.
So they had to fly to Arizona to cover game 3 through 5. That's weird.
Hey, but you know what? If I had credentials to go to Arizona, I'd pay for the plane ticket to go there.
Heck yeah. But I don't think the Tyler paper will. So. No, but anyway, all right. So game 1 and 2 are in Arlington, then 3, 4, and 5 move, then 6 and 7 back in Arlington if necessary. I'll be honest, selfishly, I kind of want it to go 6 just so the Rangers, if they win it, can win it at home. But also, I'd like it to be over, so I wouldn't mind seeing them take it earlier. It's like you'd love to see them win it at home, but if they're up 3-0 after 3 games, I don't want it to go to 6 games. I want them to take the next one and win it. So.
Because you know how it is too. Like when you're watching your team play, you do not want a close game. You want a close game when you don't have an invested interest.
Yeah.
And so let's get this done and seal up the win ASAP.
Yeah, I want a good game stops when you're a fan of the team. You don't want a good game. You want a blowout.
Right.
Like game 7 was so enjoyable because I knew it was over, in the 5th inning. It was great.
Yeah, exactly.
I like Ben's thinking process. Game 6 in front of the home fans that have waited and waited. I think it'd be really cool for the area, and Arlington would be crazy. Either way, it doesn't matter if they win in Arizona or not. The DFW area is going to be going crazy, but just get it done as fast as you can. Sweep them is all I'm saying. And people are like, well, and then I know it's not probably going to be a sweep. I'm not saying that, but this is a team you got to watch out for, though, Rangers. These are the teams
punished us earlier this year.
Yep. And those are the teams, 84 wins, and they're in the World Series, and those are the teams that are the most dangerous. And I'm telling you right now, if you look at their schedule to get here, they beat some really, really, really good teams. And Rangers better be on their A game, just like they were for the entire 3 getting here. Because if they're not, they're going to be shell-shocked.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to bring it back to, unfortunately, 2011, but the Rangers were the better team in that World Series, and they didn't wind up winning that World Series. And the Rangers are, on paper, the better team in this World Series, but that doesn't mean a thing. We've seen it happen
now.
Well, and to the point I was making earlier, people don't know who these guys are. There's an advantage to them not knowing who they are, and it's like, what you're getting out of guys like Mike Trout and Aaron Judge, which of course those teams didn't make the playoffs, but but you know what, you get my point. Like, what you're up against when you go up against some of these names that you do know, and if you don't know nothing about them, it's like, hey, those are again dangerous and sneaky.
Yep, I totally agree with you. All right, let's wrap it up. I want to wrap it up with prediction time. All right, who's going to win? How many games? Who should I start with? Who should I put on the spot first?
Nathan.
Okay. Hey.
All right, Nathan, who you got?
All right. So I went into the ALCS not exactly confident.
Yeah.
And so my prediction, I texted you, Ben, was the Astros in 6 and hoping I was wrong.
Yep.
I'm gonna stick with the same concept, right? Like, I don't want to switch it. Like, okay, now I was wrong in that. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna go Arizona in 6, and once again hoping I'm wrong because I don't want to be the one jinx them. I'm more confident about this one than I was ALCS, but all in all, I just don't want to be the one to jinx them. Going for the Rangers, but to play it safe and hopefully my pick is the kiss of death.
Yeah, for Arizona. Yep,
for Arizona. Yeah,
so I like 6. That. I like that there. All right, Tyler, what you got?
I've got the Rangers in 5. I think they'll take care of it. I think they're going to take care of a business. The Astros aren't coming into town. We do play really good at home. Let's be honest. Look at the home record in the regular season. We play really good, except for the Astros. I think we'll take both 2 in Arlington. I think we'll take 2 out of 3 in Arizona. And I'm going to say that Texas Rangers are your World Series champions in 5.
And I will say, like, for me, part of it too is, again, going back to the whole being a Dallas sports fan, I know disappointment. So I try not to. I try to keep my.
I understand that.
I try to keep my hopes nice and low, and then, that way when they do surpass it, it's that much more exciting.
Well, it's funny because I'm going with the same strategy Nathan did, and that's why I'm going Rangers in 5, because that's what I did in the ALCS, and the Rangers wound up winning the series. So I'm going with the exact same prediction of Rangers in 5. I think your MVP will once again be Adolis Garcia. So I think that's who's going to be your World Series MVP. Will be Adolis Garcia, or I don't know. Well, I'll let you guys.
I'm going with Corey Seager as the MVP.
Thank you, because I was going to say or, and I wanted to wait and see who you picked in case someone else picked Corey Seager. Nathan, who do you think?
Corey Seager.
Oh man, I just think. Seager's hot right now too, of course. But like, golly, Garcia.
What about Simeon? Simeon's bats came alive too. The last game, but
dude, what if it was Evan Carter?
What if it was Evan Carter or Josh Young, 2 rookies?
That would be fun, man. That would be awesome. But my plan was to go with Garcia too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that too. It's just like it's.
Yeah.
He's.
In the words of Derek Zoolander, he is so hot right now. So he is. I mean, Adolis, how can you bet against him? I mean, he looks like that guy that wants it so bad that he'll do whatever it takes to win.
Right. He has that look in his eyes, like I was talking about previously. Yeah. There's a different aroma about him. They're just weird. It's weird, and it's weird. If you watch it on TV, it's just a weird feeling, but, and he's ready to play.
So much fun out there too.
Yep.
I mean, just that smile and just like that's like it's
then going out there and running after he hit the home run and going to the fans, in right field and just waving. Just thanking them for just, I'm like, that is so cool, man. What a class act.
And it's so ridiculous. Like, what were the Astros really upset about? That
he walked for a second after that. I mean, here's the deal. The Astros keep saying, act like you've been there. Well, Adolis Garcia hasn't been there. That's the first time in his career that he's hit a grand slam in the postseason to give his team the lead. Would you not be super excited yourself if that was the first time you've ever done that?
And
that is a great point. Great point.
How's that any worse? How's that any worse than what like NFL players do?
Yeah,
I mean,
the Lambeau, what is it, leap and all that they do? Yeah, I mean, he literally had never hit a grand slam in an ALCS game to take the lead before. I mean, how can you not be excited? When you do that. I mean, I would have been. I mean, I was excited. I jumped up. I was excited about it. I'm just saying it. The Astros kept saying, act like you've been there. Well, the Rangers haven't been there. This Rangers team hasn't been there. This is their first time. Next year, you can say act like you've been there. But this year, this is the first time they've been to any of these places. So, it's okay to be a little excited.
Well, and then to use terms like dirty or whatever, wait, you're the Astros. Do we have to?
Or trashy.
Yeah.
All right. So Rangers in 6, or you said Arizona in 6. Me and Tyler said Rangers in 5. I'll get CJ to tweet his out tomorrow since he wasn't on the show and let us know what his prediction is. But we should do another one on Sunday. The Cowboys play early on Sunday, so we should do one. Sunday night's an off night for the World Series, so we should do another show Sunday recapping Game 1 and 2, talking about Game 3, 4, and 5 in Arizona. So don't miss that, and don't forget to subscribe and listen to the show, guys. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ben. And like I said, I'm going to bring y'all back some gear. And I'll have to get your address. Well, I already have your address. But I'm going to ship you some stuff off. But it's going to be fun, and it's going to be loud. And y'all make sure y'all tune in. In the 4th inning, you're going to see a guy running across center field, shrieking. That's going to be me. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke.
I was going to say, please don't get thrown out of a World Series.
I'm not, Ben, trust me. No. It'd be like Ben's
hey, save that for the X on Twitter. Save that.
Yeah, on the X.
Say that on the X.
I can see Ben like, oh my gosh, he really did it.
I'll be watching the game and go, no, he didn't.
My wife already told me. She said, she said, you do that. She said, your card will be declined. I said, okay. No, y'all have a good time. And sorry, CJ, we didn't see you tonight. Throwing you love, man. Get you some sleep and deuces.
Yep, Nathan, Tyler, thank you. I'll see you guys later.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Nate.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.